Hey everyone, good morning. And it is August 15th, and we are talking all about what's been going on in Edmonton's real estate market. And interesting news today that we're also going to be adding on a new community, and we are just going to jump right in. So currently there are 30 listings in Edmonton. So that's jumped up from last week by almost 500 listings. That's active listings that are just sitting there. And in St. Albert, we saw no big changes, 176 versus 172 last week. In Sherwood Park, we saw, what is the number here? It's all blanked out here, 94 versus 87. So nothing. I mean, it's gone up a little bit, but not by much. And Spruce Grove 165 by 167. So everything in surrounding areas, not a huge change, but in Edmonton, you should note that the listings are sitting now because we haven't gone over 3,000 for a while. We've been hovering just under 3,000 for a while, and now all of a sudden we've gone over, which was my guess. And as we go on to the weeks in the fall, I do think that we're going to sit in and around this mark, 3,500 to 4,000. When you have more listings, you have more choices as buyers, but beware because not all the choices are good choices, and that's usually why they sit there. So just because we have more listings doesn't mean all of a sudden we are now in a buyer's market. Higher the listings and the lower demand, you have a buyer's market. Less listings and high demand, you have a buyer's market, but we have had a balanced market because we've had a low amount of listings and also a low amount of sales. The demand has not been as high. Now, if you're joining us here live, don't forget you can comment in the comments and I can answer any questions you might have while I am on here for this short time. So we're going to talk about pending sales in the last week, and we did see all these numbers around the area jump with the exception of St. Albert. But Edmonton, we jumped up from last week, almost about 50 more sales. This isn't to do with, I think, like I said last week, to do with interest rates being locked in if you have a rate hold till September. Also, school is starting, just getting in before fall. If you're writing an offer today, you're likely moving in at the earliest end of September. You can potentially move in mid September as a rush, but then likely people are trying to move in before our winter starts in October. So that's why you're seeing those numbers jump up. St. Albert, not a huge change, 10 to 14. Sherwood Park, 17 versus 12, and Spruce Grove, 16 versus 11. Now, if you take a look at the sold, these are properties that had conditions removed, or maybe someone put in an offer with no conditions, not as common in the resale world, but we saw 190 versus 116 last week in Edmonton. In St. Albert, we saw a slowdown of about half of 7 to 15. St. Albert went to quite slow as well from 7 to 22, and Spruce Grove 16 versus 7. So massive change in the Sherwood Park market. We don't usually see that huge of a change. If you look at last year, so I've always been looking at last year. Everyone's familiar with how busy we were and then how quiet we were at the end of like in summertime right now. We are sitting at 190 in Edmonton versus 203 last year. So we are very similar on par what we were at last year, which the temperature of the real estate market to me does feel very similar, except what the interest rates are higher. Now they already were higher by this point last year, but we all didn't have a crystal ball. We didn't realize that the rates would continue to go up. And in St. Albert, we saw 7 versus 29 last year. So they have slowed down a lot compared to where they were last year, which is, I don't know if this is a blip in the market this week because last week they've been fine. Sherwood Park, 16 versus 19, and Spruce Grove, 16 versus 20. So really everyone is on par from what it was last year. So you can truly say this number of sales is looking like last year. However, the pricing is different, and we'll talk about that in next week's video. Actually, next week I'm on vacation, so the following week we'll be talking about that. Now, what I wanted to bring up was a brand new community. Now, Beaumont's not a brand new community, but there's a brand new community in Beaumont that's coming up. I have a partnership now with Sterling, and they have a new community called Le Rev. So I thought I would give you guys some updates on the Beaumont area as well, because it'd be good to be educated about what is going on there. Beaumont is known as a French community, young families, a ton of young families. I've had a lot of clients move there because of how it's a small town feel. It's very close to Edmonton, and Le Rev is actually north of Beaumont, of the old Beaumont, but the Le Rev is still part of Beaumont. So it's very close to Edmonton. I mean, you're on the map. So I'm just kind of taking a look at my map right now. It's not that far, and you've got pricing that is so competitive and very affordable for families to go in there. Currently in Beaumont, there's 110 active listings. So if you take a look at the active listings from St. Albert, Sherwood Park, and Spruce Grove. St. Albert had 176, Sherwood Park had 94, and Spruce Grove had 165. So you're comparing kind of like a Sherwood Park active listings. Pending, they had 19 deals in this last week, and they look like Sherwood Park again at 17, Spruce Grove at 16, St. Albert at 10. So you see that St. Albert, Spruce Grove, and Sherwood Park, they have varying amount of listings, but the sales are around the same. And it's interesting because Sherwood Park's always the stronger market of the three because more sales, high demand, and low amount of inventory. So you can see in Sherwood Park, it's a stronger market. And I'm showing you Beaumont is actually quite similar because there is quite high demand. Now, just for your own records, this year to date, we've had 246 single family properties sell currently, and 9 this past week and 16 this past month. So in the last few weeks. So pretty decent sales for Beaumont, and the pricing you're going to see in the new world that I have access to, that is actually not going to show up on MLS because they're brand new homes. So anything that's new builds don't show up in these numbers because this is whatever is recorded on Paragon, which is our MLS system in Edmonton. So if a builder did record the listings there, it would show up and be part of the numbers. But if they didn't, it doesn't even show up in there. And we're seeing pricing in Beaumont for laned home at $350 starting and $425 for a front attached double garage, 1,800 square feet. Those prices are crazy. And that is launching here in September in a month. So if you're interested, make sure to send me a message and I will connect you to make sure you get access to that. Because definitely that's the first phase. And we all know second phase is also rise. But this project I'm really excited about. And you will start to see videos on this YouTube channel doing a neighborhood spotlight about La Rev and probably about Beaumont as well. So make sure to tune in. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. I'll make sure to film video to answer your questions. And we will see you in 2 weeks. But don't forget, this Friday at 9 a.m., we will have July's market update of what happened in Edmonton. Have a great day, guys.